I do want to turn it over, do have the pleasure to introduce the mayor of Salem City, Dr. Jody Veler.
Let's hope I can make this work. So first, I just want to say thank you to everyone. And of course, there's this African proverb, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So what you're going to see here today is it's specific to the city, but it's not just about what the city does. It's about what the city does with its partnerships. This took a lot of collaboration. A lot of things were put together with a lot of different people to make the next chapter of Salem kind of happen. So housing. This is a big one. Salem City has about 400 vacant or abandoned properties over the last few years, and everybody that drives down the roads has seen them, and commented on them, and they've caused issues, crime issues, illegal dumping issues. And this is one area where we are focusing very strongly on. So every property that you see that's vacant and abandoned doesn't necessarily mean that the city has control over that. A lot of times these properties are owned by other people. They start out as vacant properties, but the taxes are paid and they are maintained. And by the time the city can actually get in there and do something, by the time people stop paying the taxes or we can get in with a condemnation notice, it's almost too late. The building is already falling down or it has to be pulled down. So one of the things that I did was I went to Dave Bailey. He's from 3rd Legislative District, and Dave and his team put together a bill that is slowly moving its way up through the legislature. 5373, and what this bill would do would enable the city, if a property remains vacant, even if the taxes are paid, if nothing is happening with it, we could go in and exercise the right of eminent domain and acquire the property so that we could put it back into circulation without having to wait for the condemnation of the building in order to get a hold of the property. Because by that time, it's just too distressed sometimes to save. The other thing that we're doing is with the properties that we already own is a lot of demolition. And these are just a few of the properties that are slated. I think we have 17 of them slated that are coming down in bits and pieces, particularly the ones on Thompson Street and Row, which we're going to talk about a little later. Also helping us with this, one of the really good decisions we made was to find a redevelopment agency because the city has a lot of constraints on it. We're subject to a lot of different regulations through the state. So we needed someone to be able to go out there and help us put together these bigger projects. And we signed a redevelopment agreement with the authority, Mr. Jerry Velasquez. So thanks to Jerry and a lot of the work that he's done to help promote the city, one of the first projects that you're noticing in the city is the Linden Street redevelopment. So Jerry brought us Restrepo and Associates, and together with the authority, they acquired 10 vacant properties from the city that were city-owned, and they are constructing 6 homes for families earning between $40,000 and $80,000. And this is part of the citywide revitalization strategy, backed by a $4 million state investment from the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. The houses came down, and houses are going up. So to date, this is the progress on them. There was a lottery. Restrepo got over 500 applications for these properties. They had to do a lottery. They picked out the top 30. Then they've narrowed it down to the top 6. And as they qualify, those will be the people who actually get the homes. But it doesn't stop there. So Restrepo and Associates was so taken with Salem that they are now working on a phase 2. They're acquiring properties. They're under contract from private owners on Afton Drive. And hopefully we'll see new houses out on Afton Drive within the next 2 years. So the other really unique, creative thing I'm really very proud of, working with the authority, in order to build the capacity of the city, because we're very streamlined at the city, let's say, with our staff. We can only do so much with all these properties, was the concept of a land bank. And what a land bank is, it's an entity that comes in and holds properties for the purpose of redevelopment. They either redevelop them and sell them or find buyers for them, but in some way, shape, or form, it's a lot easier to go through a nonprofit entity and a land bank to do this. So the city wrote a grant, a technical assistance grant, and it was us, Atlantic City, I think it was Plainfield, through the Center for Community Progress. They put together a report and advised that we go ahead with it. And we did. So Salem City is actually the second land bank in the state of New Jersey. It is the first one in the southern region, and actually the first regional land bank, and it is being managed by the authority. Jerry Velasquez took this on. So there is a section of the city that he is going to be focusing on, and this is the quality of life improvement zone. And we either already own the properties there or we're acquiring the properties there. Some of them are under redevelopment on the Linden Street ones, but the authorities, the land bank, the New Salem City Land Bank, and there is an advisory board, a citizen advisory board, they will be managing all of these properties and getting them back into the hands of homeowners. So one of the other bigger places that we're tearing down, that we're demolishing, is Thompson Street. And for those of you who have ever been down Thompson Street, you know, this is what was happening when houses are just left vacant and abandoned. They end up with illegal dumping, and we're really pleased that we were able to find the resources to tear these down. Now, one of the big things about Thompson Street is it's also kind of slated for part of a redevelopment with the choice planning grant, and I'll discuss that a little bit further. But we got a choice planning grant, and the Public Housing Authority is going to be building or assisting to build houses out on Thompson. There'll be rentals. They will be 4 bedrooms, the larger ones. And as part of this choice grant, Rowe Avenue was really kind of slated to have public housing apartments on it, mixed use apartments. With the choice grant, it would double actually our capacity, because we'd have to replace all of the West Side Court, which is 70 units, and we'd have to add another 70 units to that in mixed use. So Salem is now listed, a lot of areas are under the flood zone. They're under the 100-year floodplain. So this became very difficult, and Rowe was one of those spots that was available. It wasn't in a floodplain. We had it all planned out. This was going to be good. And then, good news, bad news. Salem Middle School is beyond its lifespan, and so is Fenwick Elementary. And we had the opportunity through the state development authority, the school board, to replace the school. So that is a $55 million project. They will replace everything, build a new school, computers, furnishings, everything. But we needed to put it someplace, so we had to make a trade with Salem, because Rowe Avenue was the only place that wasn't in a flood zone. So the public housing is not going to go on Rowe. The school will go on Rowe. And these are not actual drawings, although this is just a quick rendering, but this actually came from the School Development Authority. It's going to be 3 stories high, and it will hold K through 8 all the way up. So we traded them because we had to move the housing, and what we will do is take the old school and we will turn that into affordable and mixed-use housing on Newmarket Street to replace what was, taken down on Rowe. So we have some youth services, and I want to talk about youth services, and you saw Councilman Jamal Long, and he spearheads a lot of this. So does Saquon, so does Councilman Gregory. There's a whole team of people that work on youth services. But one of the fun things that they did this summer with the DEP is they get the Youth Inclusion Initiative grant, and that was applied for through Ranch Hope. And what the kids get to do is they get to explore during the summer jobs in environmental careers. So one of the things that they did was they cleared out an entire space on Keesby, was it Keesby and Grant? The Red Bridge Park is what they're calling it. Caseby, where the kids get to fish and play, and it was kind of overgrown, so they went in and they're going to turn it into an actual park, and that was a lot of fun to watch them. This is the second year that Councilman Long has run this, and it's a really great program, and thanks to him and the DEP. So we have had some issues with gun violence in Salem City. We're working on it. So let me show you this.
Attention Salem community, gun violence is a critical issue that affects us all.
Together we will take steps to ensure a safer, more peaceful environment for our families, friends, and neighbors. Gun violence is an act of violence that uses any kind of firearm to hurt somebody or yourself. Gun violence can lead to being killed or hurt. Did you know that the gun violence death rate has decreased 13% from 2013 to 2022? We need to become better. On average, 540 people are wounded by gun assault in New Jersey each year. To stop gun violence, you will need to report any suspicious activity. If you hear or see something that concerns you, don't hesitate to report it. Call 911 or the local authorities. Remember, you could save someone's life.
194 people die by gun suicides in New Jersey every year.
Gun violence hurts families in New Jersey. The truth is, not enough of us know about gun violence. Too many of us lost family and friends to gun violence.
Even though we're just kids, we deserve the right to grow up safe. Today we stand up to say,
Stand up for Salem.
And you know who made this video, right? So, a couple of the things that we've done to make things safer in the community for the kids is we have a couple of coalitions. The Salem County Coalition for a Safe Community has been around for a while. They're currently on Thompson Street. They're putting up a new community garden in collaboration with Moms Demand Action. They do a lot of community cleanups, attorney general walks. We have done a project called Soul Portraits that was in the Hetty Reckless Center, where portraits of young adults who were lost to gun violence were painted for their families in collaboration with their families. And the police are in the school with the LEAD program, Law Enforcement Against Drug program, and that's going really well. And in that corner, this is one of my favorite days, Vince Calaguire from the DEP ended up finding a cat. And he took it home with him. And it is named Salem, so that was what he got out of the cleanup that day, was this cat that is now tearing up his house. The other major group that we have, it's called Partners for Peace, and the Interagency Council is the facilitator of this. And again, this is made up of several nonprofit organizations, and there is an overlap between the two groups. But we're working on a community violence collective impact project. We have a landscape analysis that was completed, and it is up on the city's website. But for this, part of this was to get the evaluations and everybody's actions all on the same page, which is to end the gun violence. Life Worth Living, John Fuqua, at his own expense, started a Credible Messenger program. He was training 9 credible messengers, and credible messengers are people who are part of the community who can intervene in violence before it gets started. There's also a Safe Passage program slated for next year, and Safe Passage is kind of a spin-off Credible Messengers, but it's more for events and kids going back and forth to school, where people are identified who will be out in the community making sure that the kids get where they need to go safely. So one of the other things that the city had done was to get a piece of equipment, a tech called the Shot Spotter. And the Shot Spotter allows us to triangulate where the gunshots are coming from, so that police can make a very rapid response and we don't lose anyone because no one knew where the shot was coming from. So in the first 30 days, and this was in 2023, we had 40 gunfire incidents with 145 rounds were fired. This month, we had 6 gunfire incidents with 50 rounds fired. So everything that we're doing, it's slow, we're not there yet, but it is making an impact on the safety of the city. So infrastructure, we did talk about infrastructure. And I'm gonna go back to my friends at American Water. They're here today. We got a lot of benefit out of this American Water sale, as controversial as it was. Not only did they do everything they said they would do, they have replaced pipes, they have replaced meters, but they freed up staff. One of the things with Salem City being a transitional aid community, we actually had the lowest tax collection rate in the state because half of the tax collector's time was spent trying to collect water bills or fix water bills from broken meters. Once that was over, our tax collection rate has gone from 74% to 80%. So that's, it's a big jump for us. They also increased a lot of interest in commercial and economic development. We were able to bring on some additional public works staff, and just the increase in water quality, and people have it easier to pay. They can pay their bills by the month. And this is who they are. We had the snowstorm. I got a call at Sunday night, 8:45, about an accident that had happened. Somebody hit the fire hydrant and they called us, let us know right away, but they were handling everything. They sent a salt truck, they called the police, they had the streets blocked off, and it happens just automatically, just so easily. And there was another incident in which they've done something similar and just taken that burden off of the city, and we could never have done it without them the way they do it. They've donated tax credits to Stand Up for Salem. They're always at every event that we have, and it was just really a big blessing for the city. So we're still working on the roads. So we had our engineer go out, pick the worst of them. We did get grant funds for this, but we were able to start paving these roads. This is round 1. Hopefully we'll be able to keep this momentum going and get the rest of the streets done at some point in time. But the next big one that's slated to begin is Market Street. We're going in within the next 2 or 3 months. We're going to take all the trees down. The bricks are all going to be replaced so that it's ADA accessible. You can barely walk down this sidewalk in some places with these bricks, let alone try and get a wheelchair or anything else down. We lost the ghost tour. We used to have a ghost tour, but someone fell at night over these bricks and they stopped doing the ghost tour, the group that does it. So hopefully we can get that back on track. It was a really great event once these sidewalks are habitable again. And again, we owe this to LD3, to Assemblyman Dave Bailey. They were the ones who got us the funds to be able to do this street over. It's going to make a big difference. So I'm going back to Jerry Velasquez again, and LD3, the county commissioners, and everybody who made this happen. The authority purchased Fenwick Plaza for Stand Up for Salem, was kind enough to do that. And for the first time ever, Salem County has a workforce development office in Salem. We stopped in there when they were open a week, and they said they had more business in there in a week than they had in other locations in a month. It's doing really well. This is a service that everyone really, really needs. The other thing that's going to happen, the authority, Ranch Hope, applied for a grant, Feed New Jersey, NJEDA. They were chosen to receive $500,000. There will be a press release that will be out shortly. And the Choice Grant also had an early action fund, and the city is able to contribute $100,000 to that. And with this partnership with the Cumberland County Improvement Authority and Rastelli Foods, there'll be a small healthy food store with food production and education space in the old restaurant that's there downtown in Salem City. So that's going to be a big boom down there. It's not a full-fledged supermarket, but it's going to help people out a lot. Coming soon, we're trying to work on East Broadway. We have a new Guatemalan restaurant. Someone bought Krabby Joe's and they have put in for their permits. The city's working with them on the parking because it was a really difficult exit at that Krabby Joe's building. So the city is working with them to obtain some city property so that it can be like a U-shaped, parking, drive in and drive out. The family also is working on purchasing 2 additional properties on East Broadway to live in and for the potential of another restaurant. I know that there has been much speculation about the glass factory, but yes, it is slated for demolition, hopefully at the spring of 2026. They're going to build to suit. We are in negotiations with some potential end users, but we have non-disclosure agreements, so we can't go into it too far. But at some point in time, this is going to happen. There's a cat colony living out there. If you want a cat, go get it now because I got to do something with that. And that's pretty much it. So I just want to say thanks to everybody. That, like I said, this is a collaborative effort in the city. We work a lot together, a lot with these nonprofit entities. Our city staff, the police department, the fire department, everybody puts forth their best. If I left anybody out, I'm sorry. And special thanks to the City Council of Salem. They do so much more work than people think they do. And thanks. Thank you for coming out today. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them. Don't forget Saquon, he's got business cards in his pocket. and thanks for coming out.
Thank you.